Recently I was asked to do a video about how bonds work, and so I wanted to just take a little bit of time here to talk about that. Again, this is not meant to be exhaustive, does not cover all situations, but rather it's meant to be a big overview. So consider the following. Bonds are simply a debt, which generally places you as a creditor ahead of stockholders. There's three basic components. There's price, there's term, and there's the coupon or interest rate. It's very similar to your mortgage, where you've got the same kind of components there. And initially, bonds are issued with a stated price and then an interest rate, and then the bonds can be sold on a secondary market, and the price will fluctuate based on what current interest rates are doing. So in general, the bond market is volatile as prices rise when interest rates rise and fall, and vice versa. The risk is quantified by duration, and the higher the duration number, the more susceptible the bond is to volatility, and it's really discussed as the more sensitive the bond is to price volatility based on interest rate changes. This effect usually is pronounced for longer-term securities and shorter and lower quality securities as well. So any fixed income security sold, and so we use the term fixed income and bonds interchangeably, by the way. Any fixed income security sold or redeemed prior to maturity may be subject to a substantial gain or loss, but using high quality short-term bonds reduces this risk of volatility. There's also no guarantees, and even government bonds can lose money if interest rates move against them. So therefore, get professional advice before moving forward. Now, I've been hearing for a long time that you shouldn't buy bonds when rates are low, and that you also hear that when rates are high due to the reinvestment risk. It kind of depends on what you're using the bonds for. We believe in using high-quality short-term bond portfolio as part of a larger portfolio, and the bonds help manage the risk overall. As we've already stated, this can be measured by duration. Now, back in 2008, we had people telling us that they had a lot of bonds in their portfolio. In a lot of cases, it turns out that they often had junk bonds, probably because they had higher interest rates. And junk bonds are considered lower credit quality, requiring those higher interest rates, which is why people bought them. So when the stocks fell off, the bonds followed suit because junk bonds act a lot like stocks. So they didn't really protect the portfolio much. So consider how you're using the bonds in the portfolio and what you want to accomplish. We tend to use a high quality short-term bond, a global bond fund, as I mentioned, and as a risk management tool, this works for us, but the returns are not barn burners. Stocks are expected to return more over time, but the risk will be higher too. So work with your advisor to create that portfolio that you desire. And one last point, municipal bonds are bonds issued by municipalities and are expected to be exempt from federal income tax. Now, if a fund investor is a resident of the state of the issuance of the bond held by the fund, interest dividends may also be free of state and local income taxes, but may be subject to federal and/or state alternative minimum tax. Enough on taxes. Municipal bonds can also rise or fall depending on interest rates, and they act just like the other bonds we've discussed, so seek professional help when making those decisions. So that's a bit of information about bonds. I hope you found it helpful. Until next time, this is Dale Torito from TFS Advisors in Edmonds, Washington.